you're all doing well this weekend. I just wanted to do a little update for me personally, since I had applied for the PPP and had gotten good news this week that I had gotten accepted and received a loan number and an amount. But what's kind of tricky with the PPP for those of us who are small business owners and applied for this is it's kind of similar to what the SBA was doing with the EIDL grant, how they improvised. You know, even though the CARES Act specifically stated that you get paid up to $10,000 in advance. And then the SBA kind of improvised and was like, well, we're paying $1,000 per employee you have, even though it doesn't say anything like that in the actual CARES Act law. So with the PPP, they kind of did the same thing, and all the lenders who you apply through anyways, they all send it off to the SBA. And so in the actual CARES Act, it says up to $100,000 per business owner or per business. And, you know, they decided to improvise on that again and instead go off of your net. Well, any good business owner knows for tax purposes, you know, you want your net as low as possible because that's less you owe Uncle Sam come, you know, April 15th usually. So for me personally, I was like excited, oh, I got the PPP, finally gonna get something. And then when I looked at the number that they gave me based off of my net and actually broke down how much I could pay myself for self-payroll because I don't have employees, and then how much you can pay yourself for the allowable expenses, which there's only healthcare insurance, rent, utilities, and if you have a mortgage or a lease, then it's only the interest on that rent. So there's only so many expenses you can pay out to yourself every week, and so much in payroll you can pay out to yourself a week on that PPP. And like, again, I said, they went off of our net. They kind of improvised and didn't stick to what the CARES Act actually says of $100,000. Otherwise, people would be receiving these $100,000 loans, and only a portion of it, a small portion, would be completely 100% forgivable, which is a covered loan, is what it says in the verbiage. And you know, then the banks would actually be making a decent interest rate on the remaining of that money, which, again, they didn't do that. They went off of your net. They give out smaller amounts. I mean, in 8 weeks, you're going to blow through that smaller amount of money quicker than what they expected you to do so. So I just wanted to compare, you know, for business owners, if you got the PPP, be sure to break down what those numbers will actually be that you can pay yourself every week. You know, 75% payroll, 25% expenses, but then also compare it to unemployment. Because unemployment right now in Washington State, we have one of the higher weekly minimum paying. It's $7.90 is what it is here in Washington State that you can receive a week. But then you add in that $600 a month pandemic part of the PUA of the CARES Act, and that's going to put you up at $13.90 a week. So if you can get more than $13.90 a week out of your PPP, then go for it. Then that's, you know, the best option for you. But if you can't get that much and unemployment's going to be better for you, it's going to pay you more, then that's probably the better option. Also, another thing with unemployment is I looked up, and the way they do the math on what you can earn each week is they take your 2 highest quarterly filings from the previous year, and they add those together, and they divide them by 2, and then they times that by 0.03 385. So if you do that with your 2 highest quarterly months last year, and that number comes out to be higher than $790 a week, just know you're going to get tapped out at $790 a week, and then you're going to also receive that PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, from them as well. And right now that's until July 25th, which is a decent amount of time. So just be sure before you sign your DocuSign documents on the PPP that you actually do the number breakdown. If you're only, if you're a business and you do 85,000 a year and they're only giving you like $7,000, probably ain't going to be worth it. It's probably best to go do unemployment because let's say, for instance, you do go with the PPP because they give you, let's just say, $20,000. Well, your numbers of weekly payout every week to yourself is going to be better. And then after the 8 weeks, you apply for forgiveness, which is also through your bank. So you need to really document everything you're doing. You need to open up a specific bank account just for that money to go into. And you need to be paying yourself with like a cashier check. And also for the utilities, you're going to be covering another cashier check. So those are things you all really need to consider before, you just get excited and you sign and you're like, oh yeah, I got approved. Just to make sure you're taking the best option and going the best route and getting yourself the most money, because at the end of that 8-week period, whatever money you didn't pay off to yourself or cover for the allowable expenses, that's going to turn into 1% on it. Well, that's not that much. But if you got an overall bigger number on the PPP, after 2 years, that then turns into a regular loan with like up to 4% on it. So, and I think that goes to 10 years on that. So depending on your amount, your situation, how much you make already, you definitely need to weigh the two options out if the PPP is going to be better or if the unemployment's going to be better. But hope you guys are having a great weekend. It's a rainy weekend here, so I look forward to talking to you guys soon and giving you more information. Ciao.